All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about something pretty much all of us deal with. That magnetic, almost gravitational pull of our digital lives. We're going to unpack what our source calls the modern vice and explore some ancient wisdom that's, believe it or not, an amazing toolkit for getting our time and our focus back.
You know the feeling, right? You pick up your phone just to check one little thing, and then you look up and somehow an hour, maybe even two, has just vanished. You've been scrolling, tapping, watching, but what did you really get out of it? Yeah, if that sounds familiar, you're in the right place.
So our source brings up this really powerful idea, the modern vice. The thinking is that those classic paths to ruin, the stuff our grandparents were warned about, they haven't gone away. They've just been, they've been repackaged for the 21st century. And they're hiding in plain sight as our apps, our feeds, and our streaming queues. And when you really look at it, the psychology is almost identical. I mean, think about it. That unpredictable thrill of a slot machine. It's not so different from the rush of refreshing your feed to see what's new. That feeling of escape you might get from drinking. Well, that's got a pretty clear parallel in binge-watching an entire series to check out from reality. At their core, they're all just super easy ways to get a quick dopamine hit that pulls us away from living a productive life. Okay, so how does this modern vice actually manage to trap us? The source pinpoints a very specific and kind of destructive cycle that it calls the loop of laziness. And here's the absolute heart of the problem. It's this two-sided threat. So on one side, you have the addiction to entertainment, that constant siren song of digital fun. And on the other, you've got laziness at work, putting off the important stuff. But here's the kicker. They're not separate problems. They're locked in a vicious cycle. The more we escape into our phones, the more our real work piles up, and the more that work piles up, the more we want to escape. It's a perfect trap.
But, and this is a big but, here's the good news. We are not helpless in this fight. The source suggests we can tackle this very modern problem with some incredibly powerful time-tested wisdom. So don't think of this as a bunch of dusty old rules. Think of it more like a practical, psychological toolkit for your brain.
This toolkit has three main tools inside: wise reflection, moral conscience, and sense restraint. Now, these ideas come from ancient Buddhist psychology, and they have these formal names: Yonisomanaskara, Hiriotapa, and Indriya Samvara. But look, don't get hung up on the names. The ideas themselves are super simple and incredibly practical. Let's open up the toolbox and look at each one. All right, let's grab the first tool. This is our strategic weapon, and it's called Yoniso Manasikara, or wise reflection. So what is this really? It's just about training yourself to hit a mental pause button and think like a strategist before you dive into that YouTube rabbit hole or endless Instagram scroll. You run a quick internal cost-benefit analysis. You just ask yourself, okay, what am I giving up for this little hit of entertainment? And what am I really getting back? It all comes down to asking yourself this one simple question. Is this little moment of distraction really worth the valuable, totally non-refundable time I'm about to spend on it? And honestly, a lot of the time, just asking the question is enough to see the trade-off clearly and help you make a better choice. Okay, so strategy is great, but we also need some fire, some motivation to actually use it. And that brings us to the second tool in our kit, Hiriotapa, which is basically our internal motivator. Now hold on. When the source uses a word like shame, it's not about beating yourself up or feeling worthless. Not at all. It's about having a healthy respect for yourself and your own potential. It's that little voice inside that says, hey, I know I can do better than this. And it's paired with a clear-eyed look at what happens if you don't. It's all about respecting the future version of you. And this is the question that fuels it. It's asking yourself to fast forward the movie. If I keep up these same habits, day in and day out, what does my future actually look like? This isn't about scaring yourself. It's about finding real motivation by being honest with yourself. It's a powerful push to get up and do the things that matter.
And that brings us to our third and maybe most hands-on tool, Indriya Samvara. If the other tools are strategy and motivation, Think of this one as your mental firewall.
We live in a world that is literally professionally designed to hijack our attention. So this principle is all about taking back control of the inputs. Your eyes, your ears, your mind. It's about not letting your attention just wander into digital traps. And this is where it gets super practical. You set hard rules. Turn off the notifications. Put timers on your apps. You literally schedule your social media time like an appointment. You're actively building discipline and training your brain to stop being a slave to every single ping.
Okay, so I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but does it actually work in the real world? Well, the source gives us a fantastic story that shows this isn't just philosophy. It's a real-world path to changing your life.
Let me tell you about Kunmyo. Before, she was totally stuck in that loop of laziness, scrolling for hours, blowing past work deadlines, just feeling stuck. But then she made a decision. She put that sense restraint tool to work and set a hard, strict rule. Just 1 hour a day for social media. Total. And yeah, it was tough at first, but the results, they were incredible. With all that time she got back, she started learning English. She started cooking healthy food for herself. She literally went from being a passive consumer of content to an active creator of her own better life.
Kunmyo's story just proves that this is absolutely possible. And look, the goal here isn't to become some perfect monk who feels zero temptation. Not at all. The real goal is just to become the master of your own life.
And that's the bottom line here. The technology itself isn't good or bad. The apps aren't the enemy. The only thing that matters is our relationship with them. And what this ancient wisdom shows us is that you already have the tools inside you to change that relationship on your own terms. The power is already yours.
We can't just escape the modern world. And honestly, we shouldn't have to. And that's what this final idea is all about. Real victory isn't about wishing all the temptations would just go away. It's about building the inner strength to master your own life right in the middle of it all. To choose, moment by moment, where you put your precious attention.
So I'll leave you with this. Forget about trying to change everything all at once. That's a recipe for failure. Just ask yourself, what is the one tiny first step you can take today to start reclaiming your time? Maybe it's just turning off notifications for one app. Maybe it's just asking that cost-benefit question one time. That's it. The journey to mastering your own life always starts with that single small step. Thanks for joining me on The Explain.